Alright, gonna try playing another game of Commander, and hopefully our opponent won't quit before turn 1 this time. Let's see who we're playing against. We are playing against Muldrotha, an all or nothing deck, I find. Yeah, either obliterates you or does absolutely nothing. Was expecting this to be much more powerful. Turn 1 and 2 is frightening. Yeah, I was expecting this to be a lot more powerful when it was first spoiled, but haven't really seen it do a whole lot, to be honest with you. I know that when I built it, and it may just be my poor deck building skills, but I didn't really think much of it, to be honest. Wow, Dark Confident and a Life from the Loam in hand, so just as I say this, our opponent is going to prove me right and go all in and absolutely obliterate us by the looks of it. So Dark Confident is going to net our opponent a nice big Worm Harvest, which hits him for 5. That's fine with me. I don't know if Dark Confident is actually the best card for this deck, because with Muldrotha you actually want big creatures and big effects in your graveyard so that you can reanimate them. But maybe our opponent's doing something different with Muldrotha than what we've ever seen before. Get an island off of the Tribe Elder, and tempting as it is to play something here, we won't actually gain all that much value. I think I'm going to hold up Counterspell here. Might be a mistake. It could be worth just getting Courser of Crucifix out last turn, but I don't know. I am worried about what Muldrotha might do all of a sudden. Nature's Law. I'm not going to screw our opponent on colours. And apparently I don't need to. Getting a forest there. So I was assuming our opponent was going to get a breeding pool or a what's the other one? Tropical Island or something like that, but apparently not. So our opponent is still stuck on blue mana, and we should have played the Corsair of Crucifix last turn. Try and go for a land off the top with Corsair, and we're not doing so. We've actually just skipped our turn effectively, which, yeah, is my fault. I should have paid more attention to the fact that there was no blue on the field. At the time there was no other coloured sources either. And our opponent gets another 5-drop, so our opponent has hit himself with a Muldrotha and a Worm Harvest, and I think the Nature's Law as well. Still no blue mana for our opponent. And that was a Lignify, was it? Or Languish. And our opponent probably going to take the Counterspell with this. Yes, taking the Counterspell. I wonder how much of that was to kill the Dark Confident, which was killing our opponent. Not to worry, we have not trade routes. We do not want trade routes. We want Explosive Vegetation. That would have been quite the play mistake. We'll get a forest and an island here and pass it over to our opponent. So what I think we'll do next turn is try for Tatyova. If our opponent doesn't have any creatures in play, I will be tempted to go for Nissa and try and get that limit break off, because Nissa, once she's protected herself for a turn and assuming she hasn't dealt any damage, can actually get the ultimate off straight away, and you get an emblem with whenever a land enters under your control you may draw a card. So it is a may ability, which is relevant, unlike Tatyova. But drawing 2 cards every time you play a land is very good. Our opponent not really doing anything here, so I think we'll go for that Nissa. The longer the game goes on, the more difficult it's going to get to do this. So I think doing it now is good. and we can try and gain back some tempo that we lost due to my slow play a few turns ago. Still no blue mana from our opponent. Shriekmaw will kill our forest and allow the worm to come in for 1. Which means the Nissa will take 1 damage and we'll have to plus her up again. Life from the Loam getting back a Tainted Forest, I think that was. Tainted Wood. Swinging in at Nissa. And we're back to where we started when we played her last turn. Go for Tatyova here, I think. And then we'll play the land before we do anything else to make sure that we get that card draw. And then we will try again with a different forest. And I think that's okay. Pass the turn to our opponent. Didn't want to counter the Shriekmaw last turn because we'd already lost some tempo due to the play I made a few turns ago, and we would have lost even more having to pay for that next turn. Our opponent telling us that, that he needs blue, which we are well aware of. If we draw into a wasteland or something, I'm not really interested in blocking our opponent's blue mana there because I don't think it makes for an interesting game to watch. Obviously, in competitive formats of any form, you do want to be taking out your opponent's mana base by any means necessary. My opponent's taking themselves down to 14 with all this Pain land and the Dark Confidant mainly. We haven't really done anything yet. Worm Harvest is not as good as it would be if our opponent didn't keep playing Life from the Loam to get all these lands back. We actually play Worm Harvest in our Gitrog monster deck, which I will be uploading to this channel when I get a chance. And Life from the Loam taking back those lands. Our opponent could definitely do with some kind of fetch and wasteland from our opponent. Okay. So now our opponent has opened up the possibility of me wastelanding the blue as soon as they get it into play. Luckily we have enough lands to play along with enough card draw now. We're going to draw 4 cards off of this. And this is always going to be a yes and always going to be a yield because I'm not scared of Consecrated Sphinx. I'm going to get a tropical island off of this. Draw 2 more cards. And 2, 4, 5, 6 mana. I think what we'll do is get Tireless Tracker out, along with Crucible of Worlds. We can start going crazy with this Flooded Strand next turn. Not going to swing into our opponent. And we're going to ditch, the forest. Yeah, so there's the blue mana that our opponent needs. That is going to die next turn to Wasteland. Because our opponent did it to us and I'm incredibly childish. Revenge and all that. No, it's I don't think I'm going to block the blue on my opponent's side of the board unless they start going crazy with unless they start going crazy with things like Muldrotha and all this type of thing. Fact or Fiction. Actually, Fact or Fiction they can't cast, can they? It's permanents. Yeah, one of each permanent type. So, we'll see. See what we draw into. Alright, so I think we'll go for Burgeoning into Crush of Tentacles. I actually quite like that. We'll draw a lot of cards first. Unfortunately, I don't think we're going to gain the benefit from these clue tokens. I'm going to pay the life from Breeding Pool, seeing as we get life back from Tatyova anyway. And Crop Rotation is very good. I think I might actually Crop Rotate instead of the Burgeoning for Reliquary Tower, seeing as how we have a lot of cards in hand now. Reliquary Tower gives us no maximum hand size, so we won't have to discard down now. And then I think we will Surge the Crush of Tentacles. We get an 8/8 Octopus, an unlimited hand size, and do you care about Burgeoning? I think I'd rather keep up Heroic Intervention, to be honest. So we'll throw it back at our opponent now. Our opponent can play out the commander from their hand, but that's all they'll be able to do. Looks like they're not going for the commander. They are going for a 6-drop. Unless they've not tapped their lands correct. No, looks like they are going for Muldrotha, but they didn't tap for blue on Hinterland Harbour. We'll wait for our opponent to do that. Still haven't tapped for black. Tapping lands is difficult, apparently. Anytime. There we go. Well done. Muldrotha, not sure what they can play off the Muldrotha. Going for Wasteland again. Okay, I'm going for our coloured mana, not the Reliquary Tower. I don't approve. I am going to punish our opponent for that, because just going for the Wasteland just because, yeah, I'm not standing for that. Yeah, it's not really a play that I like to make, but when our opponent is just trying to kill our lands just because, yeah, I need to try and put a stop to that. It doesn't look like they're going to stop doing it for the rest of this game. I'm going to swing in with the Octopus, and that is actually a 2-turn clock for our opponent, assuming they don't block it. We can go for Gaia's Cradle. That give our opponent something that's actually worth blocking, something that's actually worth killing with the Wasteland. Yeah, did a lot of that in the wrong order, I think, but it doesn't matter. We could always take the take our opponent's commander with the Sower of Temptation as well, if we want to stop the Wasteland shenanigans. And destroy an artifact or enchantment. Yeah, I don't really care about either of these two, to be honest. So they can destroy the Burgeoning if they want to. That's no problem. Get back to Hinterland Harbour. And by continuously blowing up the Hinterland Harbour, what we can do is that destroys a target creature, probably going for the Octopus. No, not going for the octopus. Okay, going for Tatyova. That is fine. We'll let that resolve. Saving the Pact of Negation for something that I'm really worried about, to be honest. I'm making a few mistakes while I play here, so I'm dirtling a little bit. My opponent not swinging him. I think what we'll do now is go for the Sower of Temptation, target Muldrotha, and force our opponent to block the octopus. Might go for a Crucible of Worlds and kill our opponent's blue source. We can get a few lands into play here. Try and clear out our hand a little bit. Might as well play the Birds of Paradise because it's free. It replaces the mana that it costs to produce it with Gaia's Cradle. Yeah, I think we will just straight up Crucible of Worlds here. And then next turn we can Wasteland if we want to. We could, in fact we could, there is the, we only have Bird, oh we have the Exploration. I was looking to play the Exploration to play the Wasteland now. Anyway, not to worry. What else could we get out here? We could get Lotus Cobra. There we go. And we will pass it over to our opponent after he has blocked the octopus. We can actually hold up, or we have held up, the Heroic Intervention now to protect Muldrotha and Sower of Temptation. They might have targeted removal. Yep, just like that, to try and get back Muldrotha. So we will Heroic Intervention to give our creatures indestructible and hexproof. And our opponent may well try to counter here. We're ready to close out this game, so we will counter the Cyclonic Rift. And that should be that, because our opponent tapped out to attempt to close out, or not close out, but survive the game, and didn't manage it, and our opponent concedes there, sees the writing on the wall. All we have to do is swing in next turn, and we win. So I'm tribalkai for the EDH channel. I appreciate very much your watching this video. If you liked it, you can hit subscribe, hit like, comment if there's any commanders you'd like to see. Any play mistakes I've made, be sure to put them in because they're very, very useful. Salt, salt, salt. I'll see you later.